Welcome back there, everyone. Now go to Google and open up a ChatGPT window. Now, in my case, I've already opened ChatGPT, but in your case, if you've never opened it, well, it was created by OpenAI. This is the company that created it. And that's the website, openai.com slash basically here blog slash ChatGPT. And then you click try ChatGPT. Okay. And then, of course, I have to tell you that there are two things here. So there is the ChatGPT version 3.5, which is a version that can be used by free users, except for the fact that you would get some of these error messages that I explain even in the book, which is ChatGPT is at capacity. Because if you exceed a number of minutes of using ChatGPT, they might show you this particular problem here. And so, or this particular message, ChatGPT is at capacity, and they might tell you, please go and come back later because now you can't use it. Now, in order for me to bypass all these problems, I paid for the premium ChatGPT plan for $20 a month. So I'd rather have that because they don't stop me from using ChatGPT. I can use it for as much as I want, right? There is no stopping me, except for GPT-4, which is the paid model of ChatGPT. So if you're a free ChatGPT user, you will only be able to use GPT 3.5. You won't be able to use GPT-4. Now, and of course, you will be able to use ChatGPT 3.5, but only for a limited amount of time before they will tell you to go and come back later because there's a lot of people using it. Now, the difference between ChatGPT 3.5 and 4 is that if you want to use ChatGPT 4, you got to have the plus or premium ChatGPT plan, which is $20 a month, or whatever plan there's a lot of plans. I choose the $20 a month plan because I use ChatGPT that much. Now, ChatGPT 4 also has a limitation, which is here you can see that GPT-4 currently has a cap of 25 messages every 3 hours. So you can only basically get 25 answers from ChatGPT-4 every 3 hours. I hope that this changes in the future because GPT-4 is way better than GPT 3.5 because GPT-4, it's just, I mean, I can't begin to tell you. You can, if you try it for yourself, you understand what I'm talking about. But if you ask GPT 3.5 to write a course outline and GPT-4 to write a course outline, the output is going to be extremely different for GPT-4 because GPT-4 will give you a much better outline. It is that good. The only downfall is that, like I said, you have to be a plus user. You can only get 25 answers for every 3 hours of usage, and it's extremely slow. So it takes its time. It's not like GPT 3.5, for example. I can come here and I can just say, write a blog post titled, for example, top 10 best boxers in history. And I'm a boxer, by the way, so I like boxing. So here, top 10 best boxers in history. And it's writing the blog. It's really fast. As opposed to if I click stop generating here. And by the way, you can stop generating an answer if you want. And you can regenerate the answer. And this will basically, what we'll do, we'll regenerate the answer from scratch. And here's another thing that you can do. If you're not satisfied with, for example, the prompt, if you want to change the title of the blog, you can come back to the prompt. And you can click this little edit icon down here. And you can just edit the blog. You can say, for example, top 10 best marketers in history, right? I'm pretty sure they're going to put David Ogilvy in there, Dan Kennedy. There's a lot. Steve Jobs, surprisingly. Yeah, David Ogilvy is here. Let me just see, just out of curiosity. Philip Kotler. Okay. All right. So you can see over here that we've got a blog in the flash of a second. And we change the title. You can change the title of your blog anytime, and it will regenerate an answer for you. Now, with ChatGPT 4, let's do the same thing and see how not so fast it is. So I'm going to say write a blog post about the top 10 best fighters in human history. And now if I were to click enter, notice what happens. It's taking its time. It's writing it very, very slowly. But the quality is much better. And you can see that it took the liberty of even changing the title of the blog and making it more and more interesting. So for instance here, if I were to just hover a little bit to the top, now you can notice here that it says top 10 best fighters in human history, epitomes of skill, strategy, and courage. And I didn't even say that. I said just write top 10 best fighters in human history. And it took the liberty of making the title better. And not only that, is currently basically writing for me a blog post that's going to be much better. So starts off by Alexander the Great, Miyamoto Musashi, Genghis Khan, Bruce Lee, Julius Caesar, Muhammad Ali has to be on the list, but anyways, Sun Tzu, Leonidas, Spartacus. And notice that this is what I want to get to. It stopped generating the answer, and this is where you have to click on continue generating instead of regenerate response, because if you click regenerate response, it's going to generate the response from scratch. So you're going to have to wait again and again. So whenever it stops generating, don't click regenerate. Click continue generating until it no longer has anything to generate. Now, Joan of Arc is here, but for some reason they didn't put Muhammad Ali. That's crazy. But anyways here, you can see that this is the difference, the key difference between GPT-4 and GPT-5. Also here, if you're using the ChatGPT Plus plan, you're able to play a little bit with the tone and the writing styles. Now over here, the tone and the writing styles actually are another extension, which actually in this lecture here, let me just scroll to the top. I'm going to pause this lecture because in the next lecture, I'm going to show you some extensions that you need to download, which will make ChatGPT look different than what you have. Because if you log into ChatGPT for the first time, you're going to see that it's not like what I have. It's not the same ChatGPT. It's not the same environment. So in order to make it like mine, you have to follow what I'm going to teach you next. And so stay tuned and see you in the next lecture.